Welcome to the Power Factor Show. Episode 131. Sponsored by Rainier Ballistics, Hodgdon Powders, and JPL Precision.
Hi, welcome to Power Factor. I'm Larry, and this week we've got a match review for you. The producer and I went out to shoot a local match. Actually, I was the match director for that match, so I've got some comments and tips for you on that as from a match director's point of view. But first of all, I guess I'll talk about what gun I shot. So in the Ben Steger book review episode, I showed off the Beretta Elite 2 and talked about a little bit. I think I talked anyway, so I'm just going to run down again. When I first started the sport, this gun attracted me. I found it in a magazine article. It was designed by Ernest Langdon within Beretta, and was designed specifically for production division back then, which production was a brand new division. So Beretta was trying to make their mark early and put a production gun on the market that had certain features that made it a little more attractive than the standard 92 FS. So we talked about some of those features. I'm not going to go through them again, but you know, the history on this is, like I say, I bought it in 2002 when I first started the sport, and I shot it for three and a half years in production before I moved to limited division and started shooting Glocks. But actually, and through my journey of STIs and SVIs and everything, I wound up selling this gun to a friend, and he essentially just basically held on to it for me, which was very nice. So I've been sort of nostalgic about the gun for quite a while, and got an opportunity to buy it back. He actually never even fired it, so like I said, he just kind of held on to it for me, so that was kind of cool. So I've still got the exact round count. I know exactly the condition. I know everything there is to know about it. So the only thing I don't know about it much is how to shoot it, which you're going to see in this video today. So here's another match video of the host of a shooting show that can't shoot. So now the truth is, I mean, I literally have not shot this in 8 years. So I put 10 rounds through it, maybe 20 at the range, and just kind of figure out where the sights are at, and there you go. That was about it. I did do some dry fire practice at home. I did some dry draws, some reloading drills, just to kind of get familiar with everything again, but yeah, it just didn't go very well. So like I say, I was match director, and not to take anything away from my match director buddies down south in Renton or up north at Custer. The match director position at Marysville Rifle Club is a pretty easy one. There's a lot of help. We've got a lot of help setting up stages out there, so which we're lucky to have the helpers. There's people that know their jobs. There's people that do stats every time, and we don't even have to ask them or look for help. There's certain people that show up once every month at the monthly match just to show up and help build stages. You know, they might not design the stages, but they want to show up and help. So we're really, really lucky. Technically, match director is all about organizing the match, getting the match scheduled, getting the people scheduled, getting the stages designed. If it's a major match, getting the stages approved. It's all the administrative stuff before the first shot's fired. Once the match begins, the technical position is range master. So in truth, I mean, you know, they're always looking for a match director volunteer, but we've got people that send emails and say who's setting up stages, and they coordinate all that. So really it's a range master role. So, you know, I do a little shooters meeting speech at the beginning, talk about safety issues on the stages and things to watch out for. And if there's any questions, come find me if there's any questions about your stage, if there's any problems, if you have a DQ, if you've got any rules issues, come find me. So that's basically the spiel that I give when I'm the range master, we'll call it. So we'll kick off the videos, and I'll talk more about some of the gear and some of the range master issues that came up during the match. Okay, so here's the first stage we shot. This was in our Bay 6, and this was a very intricate stage. We've got a new stage designer guy that likes to build things and fabricate things, and his stages are very well built, very technical, a lot of effort put in. We really appreciate that kind of thing. Sometimes there's some issues when things get a little complicated, so let's take a look.
Stand by.
So we're standing in box A. You have to engage the popper first, which opens a box to my right. I don't know if you saw that. So there, the box is open. I can take the gas can, throw it on the activator, and we've got these moving targets. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed or not, but after I threw the gas can on the activator, the very first thing I did was I shot a plate straight ahead, and it failed to go down. You see the plate wobbled. What we have at this club, there's some hinged plates, which makes them easy to reset, but they're really heavy. There's a little stand, and they kind of have to go up and over the hinge point. So if people don't know about that issue, we have failures sometimes. We had to reset the plates and kind of lean the stands back a bit so the plates aren't so heavy, because even if you hit them square on, sometimes they don't go down. If you hit them from an angle, then we really got problems with the plates. And as you know, any hit on a plate, if a plate doesn't go down, it's an automatic range equipment failure, which is an automatic reshoot. So that's one thing I don't like about these plates. I mean, they're just way too heavy the way they're constructed. So I like them for resetting. It's nice. You can paint them and not get paint all over your hands when you pick them up off the ground. Just tilt them back up just like a popper. But we really got to set them light. So if you didn't catch that, go back and check that out. Right after I throw the gas can in there, the plate didn't go down. So I get a reshoot, and we're going to take a look at my reshoot now. So this is from the hat cam. You can see what I'm seeing.
Are you ready?
From box A, again, the popper. Hit the popper, and it didn't go down.
Yeah, really?
So here, now the box opened up. You see that? It's really cool. And you see I'm engaging the paper, and reload, grab the gas can, head on down, and this plate is the one that gave me trouble last time. We lightened it up. I really like that mover, and finished it out right there. That was an 18-round course of fire, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but the popper didn't go down for me. If you look really close, though, it was my fault. The hit was lower than the calibration zone, and it was right on the left edge, so maybe it was even a partial hit. I heard it ring. Yeah, I'm shooting with my ears. I know, shouldn't be doing that, but I heard it ring, so I ran forward and I said, why isn't it falling? All right, so I had to start over. So not a good stage for me. It was a lot of fun. I got to do it twice. That's always fun. Let's see, what other issues did we have? We had some the cables that operate that tripped the moving target. Somehow got some slack in it, so we had to reset. We were the first squad on that bay for the day, so that was an issue that came up where somebody hit it but it didn't release the mover, so we had to tighten up the cables and do some wrenching, and then the little stick that gets pulled out from that initial box where the gas can was stored. Some people didn't set the stick right and it got jammed in there, so they hit the popper, but the cable was so tight the popper wouldn't fall. So little things like that, from a match director point of view, really should have been vetted earlier, the day before. So anyway, we got things rebuilt. The squad behind us started kind of stacking up on us, but we got out of there and moved on to this next stage. Okay, so here we are in base 7. This was a 32 round course of fire with some very long range, very accuracy intensive shots, and you'll see that. We'll get this playing right here. This is, we'll do the hat cam first. So you start in a Bianchi barricade on either side, somewhat of a mirror image, somewhat. And got 6 shots. Reload, 6 shots. At about, it's 35 yards, maybe it's 40 yards. It's probably 35 yards. Over to the other Bianchi barricade, 2, 4, 6 shots, and then again, 6 shots at about 35 yards, I would say. And then head up to the port, and we've got 4 targets with hard cover, so that only the A zone and all the vertical center section of the target was available. So you see, I made some insurance shots on that. I had 11 in the gun, 10+1, and fired my 8 shots. And I figured, while I'm here, the thing on a stage like that kills you is the misses, the accuracy. So I figure I got 3 rounds in the gun, 2, 4, 6, 8, and I came back one more, and one more before the gun was empty, and then made up some shots. Now the funny thing is, I made all those shots. Where I needed them, I had misses on the wide open target from the initial barricade on the left. So that kind of stunk. On just one target, I had 2 misses. So I don't know what happened there. Wasn't reading my sights. Not used to the sights on this gun. The sights are so little. I mean, here's a complaint. I don't know if you can see that. These sights are tiny. I'm just not used to them. I'm used to that real wide blade, target blade that I've got on my Glock 35. So these things, I pull the gun up and I'm like, where? There's just like these 3 little dots, and there's no blade reference hardly at all. So that was tough to get used to. So let me show you the from the external camera angle. You can see a little bit how the bay was laid out. One thing I want to point out is that way back in January, I talked about these mag pouches being illegal because of the offset distance from the belt. So I'm wearing my really thin belt so that it is legal. So take my 6 shots. There's my long range shots. And for some reason I thought I didn't have enough magazine pouches, so you see I was pulling a mag out of my pocket, which that was a fumbled move. I wasn't used to doing that, but I made a plan to do that because I thought I didn't have enough mags on the belt, because I can't count. All right, finish it out. So,
One for good measure.
Slide down, hammer down, holster.
39.51. Well, that seems like a long time. So, anyway, so back to the belt thing. I showed off that mag pouch, how with the really thick CR Speed belt, those outboard mags are more than 2 inches out. So I wore my everyday belt, which is a Wilderness Tactical web belt, and which made it really difficult to get the gun out of the holster because the gun was riding so tight to my body, and the gun drags on the way out of this holster. I got to get some different holster for this thing if I'm going to continue shooting it with any frequency, or if I intend to get better at it. Yeah, the draws were tough, but at least the mag pouch was legal, so that was my intent there. So it was a fun stage, I guess. It was a challenging stage. Some people moaned a little bit about it, but I mean, we need that kind of thing in our sport, which is, the accuracy intensive That's part of it, you know. So the marksmanship fundamentals, if you don't have that, you know, what do you have? Okay, so stage 1, this was our classifier, and we had enough people at the match to fill out 5 squads. We had 6 stages, so nobody started on the classifier. That's another thing from a match director point of view, is setting up your match and deciding how big your squads are going to be and who's going to start where. So we just did 5 squads and started on 2 through 6. And you know, we would have opened up squad 1, or if there was too many people, but actually we had about 12 per squad, so it worked out pretty good. So this is the classifier, and it's called Eye of the Tiger. There we go. So we're just going to show you the hat cam of me shooting it here. It's just 6 rounds. And let's get it going here. You can see our producer filming me there.
Stand by.
So all it is a turn and draw. And
If you're finished, unload and show clear.
6 shots. That's it. And you know, you see you've got hard cover on the center target. You've got no shoots on the outside target. So pretty much these are headshots, straight up headshots. And it's only 7 yards. Shouldn't be too difficult. I believe I had a miss. I did have 1 miss. Okay, here's stage 2. And this is a stage I designed. I kind of designed it. I stole the design from the Inland Empire match, which we reviewed, I don't know, maybe 4 episodes ago, the one I did really horribly at, and came up with minor power factor ammo. So this was a stage they called Amoeba, and it was really fun. I liked it a lot. There was a couple of 2x4s that I mentioned on that episode that, you know, it was just at eye level, so I shot between the 2x4s. On their stage over there in Eastern Washington, they had 4 shooting positions with 8 shots each. So it was a 32 round course. And you start uprange in the right corner and you work your way back. And for me anyway, I finished off in the back right corner. But on the left, they had 2 poppers that activated a drop turner and a max trap target that, you know, the no shoot moved out of the way and came back up, and then I think they had 1 more static target, so that would be 8 shots. So because of the constraints I had with the bay I had to work with, what I did was I shrunk it down, made 3 targets per position, still 4 positions, and instead of poppers, because we couldn't get the distance to the poppers to activate, instead I had an activator pad to step on and to activate both the same drop turner, which was a disappearing target. No penalty mics on that one. If you didn't hit it, no penalties on that because it disappears at rest. And then the max trap target. So we'll show you the stage from the external camera first, and it was fun. So we start here with hands on the X's. So I took 8 shots, step on the activator, pick up 1 more target through the port for 8 shots, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So not happy with that when you see me shaking my head. So like I said, we have 4 positions with 3 shots each. So you could have done 3 mag changes, 6 rounds, reload, 6 rounds, reload from a production mindset. But instead, I figured out a way to just do it with 8 shots, reload, 8 shots, reload, and then finish out with 8 shots. So 1 less reload. But you see, after I activated the targets, shot 2, 4, 6, and then I came back to the port, I was like, well, which target did I want to shoot through that port? I should have just shot the first one I came to, but it's not the one I planned to do. So I was like, no, I have to, you know, get in an awkward position to find the target I wanted to shoot, so that from the last position, the final target through the down range to that doorway was straight ahead. So I'd go 2, 4, 6 and then just go straight ahead instead of having to move over more to find the target I was looking for through that port. So shaking my head again, shouldn't have done that. In fact, after I came up with that plan, I saw other production shooters figure, why not just go activator 2, 4, 6 shots through that port and then finish it out with shots 8 and 10 and not come back to that port. So that's what I should have done. Let me show you what it looked like from the hat cam. And it was definitely a lot of fun. You can see what the targets look like.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Okay, do my reload, hit the activator. Yeah, see there, I'm looking for that one target I was planning to get. Sticking to my plan. So that didn't work out too great, but it was fun. I think it was probably the favorite stage of the match, so that feels good. So a couple things on that stage. The activator was outside the shooting area. And we made sure to tell everybody during the shooters meeting, and we do an RO walkthrough actually, or a squad leader walkthrough before the match begins, and we point out these little nuances to the guys that are going to be running the squad. So that was one of the special things to note on that stage, is that when you step on the activator, you got to get your foot off of it. You don't have to get your foot back inbounds, but just don't have your foot out of bounds when you start shooting. And I'm sure more than a few people, somebody on our squad shot, I think 8 rounds while standing on the activator pad. So there was negative 80 points right there. So that was one of the interesting things. Now, something else that kind of irked me a bit was that when our squad arrived, so this was our 4th stage out of 6 stages for the day, our squad arrives on the stage, and I see how the max trap is set up. What it is, it has I don't know if you've seen them, or I don't know if they build them in different ways, but they have this, it's got this rod, this metal rod, that this big weight slides down on the rod. The rod's about a 1/2 inch steel rod. This big weight slides down on it, and there's a key that sits in there. When the cable gets pulled, it yanks the key out, so it allows it to hinge. The weight pulls it down until that rod's pointing down, the weight slides off the rod, and now there's another counterweight that's not as heavy as the big weight, and then so it brings it back up. Well, our squad arrives, and I see there's a cotter pin in that rod right at the last position. There's like 2 or 3 positions you could set that weight, and so if it's right at the end of the rod, it activates very quickly because there's a lot more leverage. It's way out the end of that rod. That's not how I set it up. I set it up without the cotter pin in there. There's a little place you can store it, which I did, and so the weight would slide all the way to the back. It's not like I tested it 3 different ways and decided that's the way I wanted it, but it's just the way I set it up, and I didn't spend any time to test out the 3 different positions for that weight. But that's just how it was when I set it up, and that's how it was when the match began. And so our squad arrived, and the weight's all the way here at the end. So now the question is, when did that change happen? Did the very first squad alter that and say, oh, well, this can't possibly be right, we have to put the pin in here? Or did squad 2 or squad 3 set that up? I don't know. The result of which, like I say, when the weight starts off all the way at the end, there's a lot more leverage and it acts a lot faster. That the no-shoot moves out of the way sooner, and the weight falls off sooner, therefore the no-shoot comes back up faster. So it just gives you a smaller time window to engage that target if you're trying to go for the center A zone, which I did, and there was plenty of time to do it still, but I wasn't even really ready for it. I was the second shooter on our squad, and I just said, oh yeah, I built it, I've seen it, I know what to do. And then somebody went, wow, that was fast, and then I said, oh crap, I better, when we tested it for the squad, and I said, well, I guess I better watch the first shooter, because I didn't watch the test activation. So I watched the first shooter to kind of get an idea of how quick it was, and it was doable. It was a very close target, 4 yards maybe. But just like I say, kind of pisses me off when people modify the stage. I mean, just to the shooters out there, don't modify something. That's when I started this episode, I said, part of my shooters meeting is, if there's any questions, come find me. And that questions like that are things that you would ask the rangemaster. Hey, should this be like that before we get started for the day? Did you really mean to do it like this? Or, you know, things like that. Before you modify the course of fire, talk to the rangemaster, because if a change like that happens mid-match, then everyone who shot it before the change was made has to come back to reshoot it. So the results remain, you know, with the match results on that stage. There's no evidence. I haven't talked to the squad leaders to find out which squad changed that, but you know, don't do that. That's my message. Just don't do that. Okay, here's stage 4. This was a little bit unusual in that it was set up, it was drawn up the day before, and then there was issues with, well, there's 3 shooting boxes, there were 6 poppers downrange, there was 2 targets on each side, you know, by the second box, and by the time you get down to the third box, there's 2 more targets on each side of the range. And the stage designer wanted to have, from the far box, engage the 6 poppers, freestyle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, advance to box B, and shoot strong hand 2, 4, 6, 8, and then advance to box C and transfer to the weak hand and go 2, 4, 6, 8. Sorry, 8 shots. But you can't do that. Once you've transferred the gun to either the strong hand or the weak hand, you have to finish out the stage or the string with that hand. So they just decided to break it into 2 strings. I had my thoughts on it, actually. As match director, I offered my suggestion as a way to solve that, saying, how about we do 3 poppers from box A, advance to box B, and go 2, 4, 6, 8 strong hand. And then done with that string, string 2 from box B, go 1, 2, 3 poppers, run up to box C, and then weak hand 2, 4, 6, 8. That was my suggestion. I like my suggestion. What they decided to do, which is fine, was to just go all 6 poppers from box A, and then 2, 4, 6, 8 from box B, strong hand only, and then stop, and then weak hand only from box C, new string, just 8 shots, 2, 4, 6, 8, weak hand. So let's take a look at that. We'll look at my at the external camera for the first string. See my beautiful Beretta there. Okay, that was string 1. We'll switch over to the hat cam for string 2. Actually, we'll just go ahead and cue it up. This is we can watch the whole thing from here. This is what the stage looked like. So this is string 1 again.
Stand by.
I'll slow down a bit, figure out where these sights are hitting.
Reload for your next string.
Okay, and you'll see here at our club, we put red fault lines out. That's our steel DQ line. There is really no such thing in the rule book, but if you fault the box, you get a penalty. But how do you know if you were too close to the steel to be DQ'd? So that's what that's for. That was my weak hand only double action draw on a hardcover target. So actually, I just want to give a tip out there. Let's go back to string 2. Let's do string 2 from the external camera. Here's a tip for you. When you're after the buzzer, you're going to shoot with your weak hand only. Notice I draw the gun with my grip at the very base of the mag well. So there you go. That was string 2 again. So let me just show you that here on camera. So when I pull the gun out of the holster, instead of getting the full firing grip as if you were going to be shooting strong hand or freestyle, with the gun in the holster, you see I was kind of practicing before the buzzer at locating this part of the grip while I was facing the targets. So at the buzzer, come in here, pull the gun out like this, and transfer it into the weak hand and put the meat of your weak hand, put the gun into the meat of your weak hand until you're ready to go. So a little tip for you from a guy that doesn't shoot very well. So this is stage 5. This was the final stage of the match for us. This was interesting. It was, you know, the stage designer just got an idea from watching a shoot off. So you'll see here we've got 2 plate racks and 2 poppers in between them, 2 mini poppers in between the plate racks, and 2 boxes. And the procedure was from box A, shoot plate rack A, straight down range, transfer, run over to box B, shoot plate rack B from box B, and the poppers shot from either box, all shooting from the boxes. So let's take a look at that.
Ready. Stand by.
There's my 2.5 second draw, trying to get my grip right and find the sights and all that. Still getting used to this gun. So, so you hear me mention, finally figured out where the sights are hitting. Actually, it was kind of fun because since this was our last stage of the day and people were still shooting and I was having to stick around, and we decided to stick around and just have a shoot off. So actually a bunch of us just stuck around, and one guy took one plate rack and the other guy took the other plate rack, and we just had our little, you know, shoot off, ding, 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 6 plates, and then finish off with the popper. And it wasn't until then that I kind of figured out where the sights were hitting, when I was really forced to race against somebody. And but anyway, it was fun, and it was a fun match. Again, from a match director, range master point of view, I'm really disappointed that someone modified a stage, especially my stage, but I guess, I don't know, just don't do it. I don't know. That's my plea out there. Don't modify anything on the Coursifier without talking to the range master before you think something should be modified. It's and then he will modify it. He or she will modify whatever you think if it needs to be. So. Okay, we got a little bit of business to take care of now. It's the end of the show. I should have taken care of this at the top like we normally do. So I've got here our trivia questions. We've got 2 trivia questions that have yet to be answered. So back in episode 126, that was the Inland Empire stage match review that I reviewed the match on 2 parts when I made minor power factor in limited division with my big 40 caliber open gun, or limited gun. The question on that episode, part 2, was, go back to the beginning of the show. We showed a picture of a bunch of Glocks thrown on the hotel bed, and the question was, what is the magazine capacity? What's the capacity of all those magazines that you saw in the photo? So we had a bunch of people take a guess, educated guesses. They must have been educated guesses because we had some that were very close. And the number I came up with was 815 rounds was the capacity of all those magazines. The closest to the pin, this is not a random drawing, this is closest to the pin, was Chris Marsh. And Chris, thanks for playing. You're going to get yourself a Rainier Ballistics gift certificate, good for 500 bullets of your choice. Now, there's another question that's been hanging out there. We've had some people write in, hey, what about that one? Well, it wasn't that long ago. So now it's time, though, to answer episode 128. And this was our IDPA reload episode. And Rick asked, what is the maximum distance? This is an IDPA question. What's the maximum distance between any 2 positions legal by the rules? And then also, what's the maximum distance a shooter can travel within a given stage? And the answer to those was 10 yards between two positions, 15 yards overall movement throughout one course of fire in IDPA. And our winner, Steve Koski. So Steve, congratulations. Thanks for watching as always, and another Rainier gift certificate to you, sir. Thank you very much, everyone, for playing. Now, trivia question this week. This is kind of one of my favorite trivia questions. I'm surprised I haven't asked it yet. This is a stumper. This always stumps people on the range. So here it is. This is a USPSA question. And what is the only circumstance that a shooter can be given the option to reshoot a course of fire? So I don't even know if I mentioned it actually back in the Inland Empire, or if it was even part 1 or part 2. I think it was part 1, where we shot this stage called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You had to open a door. There was a low port. I sat on my butt and shot a Texas Star. At the end of that, I pointed out on the video on this show that the RO lady said, "Do you want to reshoot?" And she asked me that because I shot a plate on the Texas Star and the plate didn't fall. I explained to her that that's not an option. I don't have the option to reshoot. That's a range equipment failure, just like I talked about in this episode. A plate, I shot a plate, it failed to overturn. Automatic mandatory reshoot is the order of the day in that situation. But now I'm asking you about, when can you give the shooter the option to reshoot the course of fire? So check your USPSA rulebook, latest version of course, and email your answers to powerfactorshow@gmail.com. Check us out. Our website is powerfactorshow.com, facebook.com/powerfactorshow. Like us on Facebook, please. And if you like, back at the website, you can donate to the show. I don't know if you can tell, we're in our brand new studio. Thanks to all of your donations, we've added 1,000 square feet to the studio, and it's been really wonderful. Just keep the donations coming in. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you next week.